Welcome, everyone. You are about to join us for an incredible webinar, and I'm going to get us started with a sizzle reel to introduce you to Jay here in just a second, but I'm going to do an official introduction right after this. So welcome, everyone, and let me get this sizzle reel rolling for you, and here we go.
Jay Abraham, a marketing legend, mentor to mentors, and the highest paid marketing consultant in the world.
He's the go-to guy now. And I got to say, if you think of most of the marketing consultants that you probably don't have the name of, they've all been influenced by Jay.
I probably wouldn't be here without my mentor, Jay Abraham. Through, his teachings and what he's done for me, he's taught me how to position myself in very unique positions, what is my unique offering, as well as the ability to communicate.
Jay Abraham has significantly increased the bottom line of over 10,000 clients and over 400 industries worldwide.
Jay has had a tremendous influence on my business. Not just my business, but really the deep ways in which I think about my students, my readers, my clients, my customers.
His books have profoundly influenced my ability to grow Bulletproof, and his personal mentorship and his one-on-one sessions with me have absolutely changed the game for me and for Bulletproof and for our mission to change the world.
Forbes magazine called him the real thing and lists Jay as one of the top 5 executive coaches in the country. He's also a best-selling author and has been featured in USA Today, the New York Times, Inc., and Success, among many others.
Life is a series of mentors, and Jay Abraham is absolutely the best in that area.
Here. I don't hear.
You don't hear you.
Welcome
Okay.
to this help from a multi-billion-dollar consultant webinar. You are in the right place. So this will be about creating more business wealth without risk. You're going to get actionable strategies, tactics, and concepts from 2 successful people that combined have more than $50 billion to their credit. The best part is they're going to share these proven methodologies in a way to make it more actionable so that you can leave today with action steps to grow your business. Now, before we get into this, I want to introduce your host. Patrick Gentempo wrote Your Stand is Your Brand and works with Reveal Films. He is often referred to as the philosopher entrepreneur. He's a well-known and respected star in the world of health, wellness, and business. He's keynoted hundreds of presentations around the world. And with that short intro that doesn't really do you justice, Patrick, take it away.
Thanks so much, Brian. I really appreciate it. I'm very, very excited to have this experience with you today. I think your life will be changed if you bother to do a couple of things. Turn off all distractions, put your phone away, don't have your email open right now. If you just stay focused here for roughly the next hour or so, it could change your life, and I'm speaking from personal experience. It's a very humbling moment and a thrilling moment for me to be able to do this with Jay, and I'll tell you why. I don't say this for like effect, but just to really get your attention on this. But some years ago, back in the 90s, when I was a startup entrepreneur running a smaller scale company, dreams of making it into a bigger company, I listened to an interview where Tony Robbins was interviewing Jay Abraham. And I was so taken with what I heard, it stimulated me, excited me. And this is one of the things that you're going to notice. When you listen to Jay and you turn off distractions, he puts you in this sort of creative trance-like state. All of a sudden, possibilities open up into your awareness that probably weren't there for you before. So, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into this. But in this particular case, Jay was offering something free. We have this free webinar here for you. Well, at that point, Jay was offering some free audios on some of the things we're going to be talking about actually today in this webinar. And I got those audios in the mail. This is, again, back in the 90s. It wasn't delivered digitally to me. I drove around in my car listening to those audios, and over the next years, and I mean years, it's like 10 to 20 years, I did some math about a couple of weeks ago, knowing that this event was coming up, and the impact that just those free audios had on my businesses from 2 ideas I took away that I put on the ground and implemented literally added up to somewhere between 70 and $80 million of revenue for my business. And again, I'm saying that just to get your attention, because if you pay attention, and just because this is a free webinar today doesn't mean you can't take away a lot of value and have it have impact. It did for me, but that started me on the trail with Jay and what he teaches. And from there, I became a disciple. Anything he put out, I would buy it. I'd go to his events. Whenever he was speaking at other people's platforms, I'd make sure I was there to see it whenever I could, because I always was able to take away something that made a difference in my life. And it wasn't just the fact that there's the practicality of the dollars, which of course is important when you're an entrepreneur, but it was also the experience of being an entrepreneur, of having more confidence, more competence, more strategy, more ability. I didn't learn any of this stuff in school, but I did learn it from Jay. It has made a profound impact on me and many, many other people along the way. So I want you to really engage in a meaningful way today, because we're here for you. That's why we showed up. We're here for you, for your experience. And with that, I want to introduce Jay Abraham.
Well, Patrick, first of all, that's very flattering. Thank you. And I thank everybody who's here and everybody who will watch it afterwards. I've had a very storied career that I'm actually just thrilled about. Never expected it, but I've had the great opportunity of traveling the world many, many times over and interacting with some of the most spectacular, brilliant, innovative, and qualitative entrepreneurs. And more important for your purposes, I've helped about 300 of the world's top experts, and none of them came to me for help with their expertise. They came for help to show the marketplace why, how, and that their expertise had the ability to, first of all, make the market better, whether it was health, whether it was business, whether it was physical, whether it was relationship, whether it was supply chain. And I had to learn the distillation of over 300 methodologies. And these are all world-class, the Stephen Coveys, the Brian Tracy's, everybody in there. So I come to you with a rather unique knowledge base that I hope is reasonably profound, and it's proprietary. And I want to share with you what I've learned in decades of doing it on the front lines of capitalism, and then concurrently in doing it on a worldwide basis. And actually, the introduction they did is really, it's flattering, but it was done a while back. We've done over 1,000 industries, and the tally is about $50 billion of profit increases. And I'm sharing not to be arrogant or brash, but I want you to know the power of what I want to share with you, because both Patrick and I feel great empathy, great support. We feel very, very inclined and committed to help smaller entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals really give everything they can to their market and gain everything they can back in reciprocal for the value they create. And this is our way of trying to give back in a meaningful way that will help you see opportunities you haven't recognized, revenues, underperformance you can improve, and powerful distinctions you can take advantage of right away. So that's probably a good setup, Patrick.
It was. So thank you for that, Jay. Incidentally, as you're watching this right now, please, I'd like to know one thing, and it's good to share this, and I'd like to get everybody that's tuning in right now to share this. Why are you here? What is it you're looking for? Something caused you to raise your hand and say, yes, I want to come and I want to engage in this training, but it might be different for all of you. And there are a variety of different people here as far as saying, some people are solopreneurs starting up. Some people maybe have scale, 7, 8, 9-figure businesses and everything in between. And looking in the chat and seeing what brought you here and having you actually remind yourself, I'm here with a purpose right now. What is that purpose? It would be good for you to express that and for you to share that amongst the community. A community of people working together in a training is something that's a very powerful thing. And I'm glad that you're here to be with each other during this experience as we go through. So please go ahead and throw those into the chat. We'll share those. we are going to be covering today, we have this mastermind called the Pathfinder Mastermind. And one of the things covered in there is the 7 strategies that Jay likes to teach. We're going to cover 2 of those today. That's what time permits. I have personally implemented both of these in many of my businesses over the years with profound effect. Jay will be explaining, in detail what they are. He'll take you, through these 2 particular strategies of the 7. And I think when we're done, you're going to come away with some new ideas, new information, new stimulation, new orientation that can take you to places that otherwise were not available to you. So I think we can go ahead and dig in, Jay.
Okay, good. And I should set this up a little bit, if you all don't mind. And that is, over my career, I have pioneered, I guess would be the word, or introduced or engineered something like 97 different progressive methodologies. But these are fundamentals we're going to start you with. These are the fundamentals that if you start implementing these alone, it'll start dramatically changing the outcome and thus the income you get and the results. And it'll make the process of doing business really exciting, because the goal is to get your business to work harder and harder for you than you work for it. So we can get going. And I have a PowerPoint that'll keep me a little bit on track. So hopefully it'll help you too. So let's take a look at the first one, please. Okay, well, let's take a look, go backward, excuse me. Let's show you what we're going to cover today. These are literally the 7 strategies, and we are going to introduce, and our goal is to give you comprehensive understanding of strategy preeminence and the 3 ways to grow a business, which are very powerful and very complementary. Okay, next, please. Okay, so let me start with what the strategy of preeminence is and how it came to being, because origin stories sometimes are very important. So I've had many clients in my life, and one of them taught me as much as I taught them. At the time, it was the largest publishing entity of its kind in the investment world. They had about 50 different publications. The person that ran it came from Bain, one of the biggest consulting firms. He was a very bright guy. And their business was doing approximately 3 times their closest competitor. Their profit margin was about 5 times what their competitors were doing. The esprit de corps in their organization was so amazing, it was almost magnetic. And they ended up selling, I'm talking about 20 years ago, for $650 million, which back then was a lot of money. And when I understood how powerful the methodology, the culture, the ideology, and the philosophy that were being combined to this company, because they were seen in the market so far above the maddening crowd of competitors in qualitativeness and in contribution to their audience, their subscribers. And I wanted to know what the heck was the driving engine that was fueling that superior performance. And so we did a trade. I gave them $500,000 of my time, my expertise, my advice. They let me openly observe for a week, interview anybody I wanted, ask any questions I wanted. And then the man running it sat down with me for a day. I took 1,000 pages of notes, literally, and I distilled it down to what I'm going to try to share in a few minutes now. So that's the premise. And it is the philosophy, the philosophical strategy, or the strategic philosophy that should drive everything your business does if you want to be anything above a commodity. It should be the belief system that you incorporate into everybody that works with you. It should be the driver and the framework of your marketing, your advertising, your sales approaches, and it's just going to drive everything. It's the who, what, and why that you should stand for. It's everything. So preeminence is superior selling approach. It goes into everything. Next slide, please. And I'll get ahead of myself constantly. But just to realize the preeminent companies and how they differ from the average, here's just a few of them. And if you think about them compared to their next closest competitor, it's no contest. It's no contest. Why? Because they have understood, not because they were necessarily taught by me, although a lot of these companies did come to my programs when we used to do very expensive group programs, but they stand for something far above the maddening crowd. They are operating and they are seen by their audience to be in a rarefied strata up here and everyone else is down here. They are seen as the best. Next. So, I mean, and I'm going to get ahead of myself, but before I address these, I want to give you a couple of the keys. When you are preeminent, you are seen by your market as the only viable choice they can make in the category, product, service that you offer. You are seen as their most trusted advisor for life. They see you as somebody who gives them the truth of what they should do, shouldn't do, why, how, and at what level. So preeminent companies build a vibrant, loyal community. They connect continually, deeply, meaningfully with their audience in ways nobody else does. They develop a unique, valued sales position and brand persona. They are consistent in their quality service, and they have an almost impenetrable bond with their advocate client fans. Next. To them, the client is truly king. They know that the client customer experience genuinely matters to their buyers. Great preeminent businesses see services they render not as an additional cost, but rather as a sales opportunity. Next. So think about Uber. What or who is an example? Uber, who's identified all the pain points and eliminated them. We call this the friction factors. Netflix with the customer personalization. Ritz-Carlton will go to almost any lengths to satisfy and fulfill their client, customer, guests, and their well-being. JetBlue, I fly Mint all the time. I live in Los Angeles. When I go to anywhere that JetBlue flies, I go Mint. And Mint is their equivalent of first class, but it's fun. It's wonderful. It makes you feel like you're important. Disney, being detail-oriented, offering customer attention, direct personal experiences. Next. Amazon, hugely client customer centric, which cannot be possible without a genuine focus on their, I'm using the word customer. We don't use it in preeminence, but we're going to give you a transitional bridge. And in IKEA, where their business leaders and market, they rack their brains to illuminate all the points of friction and tension. Each brand exudes a distinctive persona. It can be sincerity, excitement, competency, sophistication, empathy, durability. Next. These are some other brands, and we don't need that. I want to move because this is so important, and I want to have some private dialogue on it. So here's some of the key drivers of being preeminent. First of all, they sell true, or they show true empathy. If you don't really understand what's going on in your target audience, mind, life, how they feel, what brought them to the point you're interacting with them, what's going on the rest of the day, the rest of the life, then you can't really connect at a deep enough level. And there's process. Today, we're not going to give it to you, not to be teasing. It just takes too long. They're always selling leadership. They're not selling just products or services. Leadership means I'm going to lead you. I'm going to tell you what's in your best interest and why. I'm not going to let you purchase less than you should or more than you should. I'm not even going to let you purchase if it's not appropriate, even though I would be denied the money. I'm going to not let you purchase less than you should in less quantity, combination, quality, and consistency than you should. Not because I want to make all the money, but because I want you to get the best outcome. And most people do not purchase strategically for themselves. They get a suboptimal, a lesser outcome. They know how to convey to their target audience that I feel the way you feel. I started out as a very small entrepreneur. I started out helping only smaller, we call them SMBs, which I think most of you represent. And I have great appreciation, understanding, respect, empathic commitment. I want to be your champion because I understand you. And if that comes across to you today, it's nothing more than an example, a denomination, and a personification of being preeminent. So they convey to you that they feel what you feel. They give advice instead of information. They tell you what's in your best interest. They don't say, okay, here are the factors. This pen, is $2 and it's got blue ink. They would tell you this pen is what I recommend over another one, over this pen, because this one is more comfortable. If you write a lot, your fingers won't get tired. It's got twice the amount of ink. It will never get on your nerves. Whatever it is, they know how to tell you what you should buy, not just let you buy what may not be the best for you. They help people achieve clear focus. They put into words what people want more of, less of, want to get away from, and then they build on it. They understand the mind of the market. Next. So let's look at the key drivers of all preeminent companies. They make you, the client, the focus of attention. They have a genuine hopefulness for their client. In other words, they have the ability to hope for you that you will use the purchases in a way that when their product, service, or company is deployed in your life, your business, they see what will happen in the future. Your business will be more effective, more productive. You'll make more profit. You'll be more in control. If it's a physical thing, you'll have more. Your blood pressure will drop. Your weight will improve. You'll sleep better, which will give you more focus, happiness, less stress. And they understand not just the static moment, but what happens afterwards. And they have an obligation not to let people avoid taking action. They won't just let you not take action. That sounds intrusive, but it isn't. People want to be led. The key is they want to be led. They're silently begging to be led, but they want to be led by people who only have their best interest, not the people, but the people that want to be led. You, me, anyone. They want to be led by somebody who has my best interest at heart over theirs. And they have to really feel genuinely and authentically that is the case. They know the difference between client versus customer. If you want to be preeminent, I strongly urge you to stop calling the people you deal with customers. And even if you're a professional, patients, you can call them patients, but in your mind, you should think clients. Why? Look up the Webster's definition of a customer. Very, very shocking. It's someone who buys a commodity or a service. If I call you a customer, what I'm really saying in between the lines, if you understand it, I have no distinction. My company has no advantage. My company has no reason to buy from me other than lucky, if you want to, mercy. Maybe I'm a little closer, but I offer no advantage. A client, according to Webster, is somebody under the care, the protection, the well-being. It has much more of a fiduciary connotation. And when you understand it, it elevates the connection you have and all your team has. Next. Definitive differences. They have a continuous positive effect each time they connect. They believe that every time they interact with anybody, for any reason, for any amount of time, their obligation, their goal, their responsibility, and their privilege is to make the other person feel so much better, grow from it, understand from it, get a modicum of joyous improvement in some way. They provide people with reassurance and motivation to use the solution they are selling. Everything you're selling, everything you do in your life, it's solving problems or making opportunities possible, pure and simple. When you understand that, the more you reassure and motivate somebody and help them use your solution, and it is a solution to a problem or opportunity, the more connected they are. This is key. Most people in business, one more, stay there. Thank you. They fall in love with the wrong thing. Most people fall in love either with making money or they fall in love with their industry or their product or they'll be the fastest growing company. It's not what you need to fall in love with if you want to be preeminent. You fall in love with the people you serve, the clients you serve, and you have three kinds. You got certainly the ones that pay you, the buyers, but then you have the ones you pay. You should want your team members to be successful, to grow, to develop, to feel a unified purpose, They should see that they're on a mission, a crusade, just like you should. When you do that, also your vendors, you should have a very integrative relationship, because when you do it's a compound, explosive, positive effect. Next. They make clients know that they matter, that their well-being is important. They convey that theirs is the better way. This pen is the better way. This pen will stop writing in only a few weeks. This pen is very uncomfortable if you write it a lot. This pen will leak in my pocket. This ballpoint will break half the time and roll away. This ballpoint is made with 40,000 pounds of pressure and will not leak and will write beautifully for at least 90 days. That's the difference. They don't just tell, they show. Show me, not tell me. If you understand how the mind functions, NLP, it's very, very, very oriented towards things. Metaphors, similes, analogies, case studies, examples. Words are, charts, words, PowerPoints. Storytelling, examples are infinitely, I don't know if I want to say 10 times, but I'll say infinitely more impactful. They reduce the hurdle rate needed to take action. It's called risk reversal. Excuse me 1 second. So in any interaction you have with anybody for any reason, one side is always being asked by the other to assume all, more than all, most, some degree of risk. When you can reduce that and make it easier to say yes than no, and there's a multitude of ways, you win, because people move forward, they take action, they buy. And there are many ways to reduce the hurdle rate, which will multiply the number of people that buy from you. And a few won't, a few will not, but I've got more methodologies than you can imagine to do that. It's very interesting. They don't make people buy less than they should, want, or need. They do not just let them do it. I have an analogy, and I hope you can see this. It's not perfect. If you came to Jay Abraham's bottled water shop and water bar, and you only wanted to buy a half a bottle of water from me, or a half a glass, and I took your money and did it without first making sure that you need 7.5 more glasses each and every day for your body to function, your brain chemistry to operate at peak, your cellular structure to be nourished and its thirst quenched, and bathed in its life force, for your digestive and elimination system to work. If I didn't make sure that you knew that, and that you were well aware that you need 7.5 more, and hopefully you're going to get them, if not from me somewhere, I would be stealing from you. Conversely, if you bought 8 glasses every other day, and I didn't do the same to make you aware that you need to do it every day for your stress level, your focus, your creativity, your interaction with people, your sleep, I would be stealing from you. Now, after I did that, if you opt not to do it, at least I've been preeminent. And that's just an example. Next slide, please.
Hey, Jay.
Yes, sir.
I want to highlight something you just said that I think is really important. First, the preeminence is scalable. I just want to make that point, because we obviously can cite big companies like Netflix or Amazon, but if you're like, I come from the chiropractic profession originally, if you're the local chiropractor, you want to be the preeminent chiropractor in that market, in where you are. So this is applicable to whatever scale of business you're on. And the question that everybody needs to be asking themselves is, what does this mean to me? Meaning, contextualize it to who you are. One thing you just mentioned, I don't want to go by too fast, and maybe this is a little bit of my own biases, because you mentioned risk reversal. And I learned risk reversal from you some years ago, and the first time I learned it, I got it. I put it into a sales letter. That sales letter generated millions of dollars because of it. And I just wanted to dig in on risk reversal a little bit, what that is and why it's important.
Yeah, sure. So risk reversal is the ability to understand I'm going to use the word reticence, apprehension, uncertainty, fear that somebody has in doing business with you. And that fear has many components. One is, are they making the right choice? Should I buy this water from you or this water from Patrick? If I decide, will this water really do what it's promised to do? Will the company stand behind it? Is there a better alternative to water? Maybe I should buy Powerade. Next is that if I have a limited amount of money, is that the best way to deploy it? And I'm using it very simplistically. You can take it to any sophisticated application. You want to talk about risk reversal in life? So if I take a job, is it going to be what they say? Will it really be a career path I'll enjoy? If I buy from this vendor, and again, it goes both ways. You can be on either side of that. If I want to go out on a date, is this going to be an enjoyment? If I want to get married, is it going to be what I want? Because I can have kids and it can be very bad if I get a divorce. So if you understand the dynamics going on and figure out how to either eliminate, moderate, reduce, eviscerate the risk, and it's easier to say yes than no. Let me give you some examples. When Domino's first started, what they said was hot, fresh, delicious pizza delivered to your door in 30 minutes or less, or it's yours free. When FedEx first started, they said when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight by 10 a.m. or earlier, we guarantee to do it or it'll cost you nothing. When Nordstrom's first started, Nordstrom's, if you're not from the United States, it's a very successful department store. They said if you're unhappy or dissatisfied with any purchase for any reason at any time in the future, you can have a refund, a credit, or a replacement, no questions asked. When we did seminars, and Patrick was of that time with us, first thing we did was before we would even ask you to buy, we would send you at the time, we would actually send a real, not a BS, but a real $2,000 program that we would lend you. You had to send it back if you weren't going to sign up, but you gave us nothing but your word. I invested this program. This is before everybody was offering all that, and it wasn't real. Mine was a program we were selling. We lent it. We said, if this doesn't validate, and hopefully if you apply it, pay, because our seminar was $15,000 30 years ago. Then we said, that notwithstanding, even though we have earned your trust, if you don't get at least a multiple of your $15,000 before the halfway point of a 5-day seminar, 2 o'clock on day 3, we won't deserve to keep your money, so we're not even going to deposit it. We're not even going to deposit it. We're going to have your uncashed check or credit card slip on the table in the back, and you're welcome to walk back. Just be discreet and respectful, and you can take it and leave. And finally, we said, even those things notwithstanding, we are fine letting you pay for it mostly after you go home. So you will be paying with a small portion of the profits we helped you earn as long as you take action. We let them pay over, I think it was 12 or 15 months. That's an example. Is that enough, Patrick? Do you want more?
No, that's perfect, Jay. I just wanted to make sure. It's such if that's the one takeaway you had, and you figured out how to apply and leverage risk reversal in whatever your business is, it's going to make a massive, you'll look at today as an inflection point for that business. So I just wanted to dig in a little bit.
And just to reinforce it, back in the days I did seminars, this is going to sound wild, but it's true. We had 100,000 plus success stories, testimonials, but success stories. And we analyzed them back then, and 25% were merely by adding or fortifying or increasing the power of their risk reversal. People were doubling their closing, doubling their average sale, doubling the leads that came in, doubling the shortening the sales cycle, 25% of 100,000 success stories just by adding or improving their risk reversal. That's quite profound, I think. Anyhow, let's go on, please. So preeminent businesses, they massively outperform average by huge margins. They have more buyers, more valuable buyers, LTV, lifetime value. They have far greater viral word of mouth because the way they operate, it's contagious in the positive way. It excites people. They're dealt with differently. They're communicated with differently. The experience is different. We just came from, I have a $48,000 mastermind with a much larger companies. And at it, we have very high level people that speak and share. And one guy came and he does all the experiential marketing for people like Nike and all the car companies. And he was explaining the psychology that the more experientially significant you get people, the more engaged they are, the more profit, revenue, sales, repeat sales you get. And just think about Coke, for capacity, McDonald's, Burger King, Apple, Samsung, Red Bull, Monster, Energy. Next. All the impact levers I shared can grow your business no matter, as Patrick said, you can be the most preeminent restaurant, the most preeminent chiropractor, hair salon, and if you're a localized expert. When you incorporate this belief system, and there's a framework that we've created, and all of our mastermind people get it, but you come across differently. I mean, it's everyone else in you. It's they're here and you're way up here. There's no contest. Your ads are more powerful. Salespeople are they're infused with a different and just everything about it. They evoke an aura that is far more authentic, powerful, believable, and attractive, which really produces more buy-in. Your team transforms because they feel a part of a crusade, a mission, and it's just very, very cool. Next. So if you move your business from average to preeminent, your world will start changing. And very honestly, you'll have a lot more, Tony Robbins calls it juice. You get a lot more out of what you're doing because we want the business to work harder for you than you work for it, but we also want you to get so much more out of it. I mean, I've got something called the 3 Ps. If you're not getting the 3 Ps, then if one of those is missing, your performance can't possibly be optimal. It's passion, and the passion has to be not just for the business, but for the people you serve. Purpose, that means you're going to add value in some way. You're going to fill a void, or you're going to take something to a higher level, or you're going to protect them or enrich them better. And possibility. You see all you can do more, whether it's contribution, whether it's achievement, whether it's growth, whether it's multiple ways you can attract people, keep people, ethically make a lot more money from people. So point of action, that's what POA means, our Pathfinder point of action. Discuss in your community how to become preeminent. Patrick, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So this is, I think, an important thing is as Jay is speaking and talking about preeminence, hopefully some things are flashing your mind. What I want to encourage you to do is within either your own groups, within your company, you want to discuss this, but we have the opportunity right now. You got a bunch of business owners, entrepreneurs that are here with us. If you had a flash or a little insight on how you might apply preeminence to your business, please share it with the group. Let's have the group kind of interact. I think that really helps to raise the frequency of the whole experience, and people get a lot more out of it. Also, coming up in a little bit, we're mentioning the Pathfinder Mastermind. So if you have questions about that, just hold them for a short while, and I'll be getting to those, and I'll explain exactly what that is. I think it's going to be surprising to you what it is and how affordable it is and what it can mean to your life. But let's hang in there till we get through this next one, and then we'll talk about that later.
Very good. All right, continue, please. So think about this. if you were building any kind of a building, you start with a foundation, and then you build the frame, and then you put the skin on it, and then you put the roof on it. I'm building the foundation of a far higher performing, far more profitable business that has all. We have 5 different facets of wealth. I don't think we're going to get into it today, but I'll tell you what they are before we talk about the next category. There's predictable current wealth. There's mechanisms that you know are going to continually bring money to you every day, every week, and the kind of money from the sales and the type of clients you want. There's future revenue that's predictable. That's repeat. It's processes that are continually bringing prospects in. You've got a sales cycle, or it's immediate. You've got repeat sales. You've got all these things going on. There are windfall profits. Usually, no matter the size of the business, no matter how you generate your revenue, you have a lot of low-hanging fruit that can be monetized very quickly. It doesn't matter if you're large or small. With larger companies, we have a methodology that oftentimes can get 10% of their total annual revenue, at least in one-time windfall, jackpot, newfound profits they never would have had. And about half of those are recurring, meaning they're things that keep multiplying in the future because they're just things, they're connections. We call them making the money connection that they don't see. The next is psychic. If you're not getting the fulfillment, then that kind of wealth is just as important. You will find after you start making more money, we can double. I mean, in the Pathfinder, our goal is to try to help you double your income at least every 15 to 18 months or sooner. There's plenty of precedent for 2, particularly if you're not that big of a company. It's really rather easy to do with some of the mechanisms. But the last one, and this is what smaller SMBs don't understand, it's trying to create asset wealth, meaning for the same effort, the same time, the same resource allocation, whether it's money, time, effort, opportunity cost, you can not only multiply your revenue, you can multiply your bottom line much, much larger and faster. A 10x moonshot bottom line is far more achievable than the top, and it's far easier, and usually it costs nothing, and it is no risk, but you build something that has value. Most small entrepreneurs and business owners don't build a business that has value. You should always be doing something that makes you a much more income now as a reward for the contribution. But if you ever want to stop or move up the food chain to a bigger challenge or opportunity, that what you've built, anyone would purchase for many times what it earns you in a year. And that's not that hard to do when you shift your thinking. So five P's. Now let's go to the next, the 3 ways. This is fundamental. And when you understand this, it's also called 10-10-10. I taught it to Tony Robbins. It is the foundation of his $10,000 business mastery. And it's the easiest, safest, fastest, and most elegant way to grow any business because it works on the geometry of the business. Let's look at the next slide. So when people come to me and say, how many ways can you grow a business? It must be 1 trillion. I say there are almost an infinite number of tactics, but there are really only 3 primary ways and 3 advanced ways. The primary ways, you increase the number of buyers or clients. The second is you increase the size of the transaction or sale because that multiplies the profit contribution significantly. The third is you increase the frequency of purchase or utility value. What does utility value mean? It means if you only have 1 or 2 or 3 things to sell and you have people that buy everything and then you have nothing else to sell, you expand your business worldview and you say, I have a trusted relationship with them. I've been selling them this. Now I'm going to sell them this. I don't have to own it. I can partner with somebody. Or maybe I'm going to sell them Powerade. Or maybe they want, something better, but I'm going to sell them more things because they already have their trust. And just because I see myself as a water salesperson and they trust me, that trust can be connected to many other things, and you don't have to put any money out, and you could double, redouble again the revenue that a client is worth to you. We even have shown people how to monetize significantly prospects who don't buy, one-time buyers who stop buying, multiple buyers who buy everything. So those are the three ways. You increase the number of clients, you increase the size of each transaction, and thus multiply the profit it produces. You increase the frequency, meaning literally how many times they purchase in a given period. Next. So I'm not going to give these two, but we have 10 concrete ways to apply each of those three. There's plenty of case studies I can give you, but I don't want to take too much time right now. And many haven't done much or anything, meaning most people have a misperception. I was writing a treatise on this for my own email list, so I'll share it with you. I was reading something and it said, do you play with purpose? And I was thinking about the fact that it is yours to win. We just came back from our mastermind, the $48,000 one. And there were about 80 people there. And literally 2 people stood up when we're doing what's happening in your business. And it was very, very flattering to me because one said, I used a joint ventures strategic alliance concept you gave me 6 months ago. And it is now producing on an annualized basis an extra $1.5 million net profit. Very, very significant. And he said, more importantly, because I'm in the medical field, that's going to add 17 million to my because of the multiple, my value. That was very interesting. Another man stood up, and a derivative of that, he said, it took me a long time to do it, but we did it, and now it's going to 600% my business. That sounds outrageous, but it really isn't if you don't really utilize all the power principles that are available to you. But what was more interesting is I was flattered by their declaration, but I was depressed almost because I had shared derivatives of the same concepts with everyone in that room. Everyone in that room. So I'm saying the next part, it is yours to lose. When you learn things like this, whether it's from me, Patrick, or anybody, being on this is not the commitment. It is nothing more than the preparation. What you do with knowledge. Knowledge is not power unless it's acted upon. Knowledge is like gas in a car that's not turned on. You have to put it through the engine of execution, implementation, or nothing happens. There's a book that was written 20 years ago, and I read it many times. It said, action, nothing happens until someone or something moves. It's a derivative of Einstein. So think about that. Next. So these are examples of how you can increase each of these categories, and I'll be happy to share them with you. So one time we were able to take somebody on an infomercial, and by adding, they had an infomercial that was producing X, and by having the same script delivered by an endorser, John Ritter, who was he died, but he was a comedic TV sitcom star, it tripled conversion. Fran Tarkenton, who many of you might be too young to know, he's an NFL Hall of Fame, a 3-time Super Bowl, famous television celebrity, made Tony Robbins. When he was at his peak, he was the host of an infomercial with Tony, and Fran's credibility lent everything to Tony. Tony endorsed one of my first programs, and we sent 10,000 letters out to his list of the best buyers, and we generated $9 million of revenue. A company called Hume Publishing built an advisory panel that they used in all their advertising that were people either that were known or people that had profiles or resumes that were very, very impressive, and that lent credibility and superior elevated stature to them. I did Icy Hot, and we tried it with we had a TV commercial. Icy Hot was, you all know it probably here, it's very successful. But when I started with it, I started with Entrepreneur Magazine before anybody knew what entrepreneur even meant, and we had to explain how to pronounce it and the definition. I started with Icy Hot when nobody knew what it was. It was only doing $20,000. And we had commercials we created with a famous Broadway actor that we thought was going to be great. And it was terrible. And we got an old star from the 40s to come, who at the point we used him, he now was at the same age as the audience we wanted, and it 10 times what the other one did. I can go on and on. Happy Days. These are all larger ones, but the same methodology. It's just one of 10 ways you can grow your business. And I've got all these different examples, but in your localized business, you can do the same thing. There's local people. You can get advisors that you put on all your promotion, and they can be people who've got stature, or they come from a profound a resume, and they give credibility. So next, I don't want to get too deep on this because I can go deep. So I already told you about risk reversal. These are just ways to do it. Bonuses, believe it or not, in any way you sell, and you all theoretically sell, there's about 8 or 9 leverage points just in that. And they're universal. They apply to how you sell. They apply to your ads or marketing. First is the headline or the equivalent. You can change the headline in an ad, in a landing page. It's the equivalent. It's the subject line. It's the first thing you say, or the banner at your trade show, and you can get up to 21 times more result. No more time, no more effort. Very infrequent to get 21 time. Very, very frequent to get 2 or 3 time increase just by having a better one. Very, very surprising. You can change how you position product, service, company, and multiply the result by another 50 to 100%. You can change or add a risk reversal and double or redouble again. You can change how you use proof. Proof can be testimonials, they can be an advisory group, they can be endorsers, they can be analysis of the performance. I'm telling you, this one will write 3 times longer. That's my declaratory statement. Let me show you the lab that proved it. Let me show you the college I gave both of them to in blind test. Let me prove it to you. The next factor is bonus. By giving a bonus, you increase the take-up rate. And you can test all these. Speaking of headline, let me go to the other flip. We have tested 33 ways of greeting somebody in the front door of a large furniture store once, and one of the tests tripled conversion. Tripled. And I won't tease you, I'll tell you what it was. Instead of saying, can I help you? The question was asked, this was just one of the tests, and what ad brought you into the store today? It was a question that they'd never expected. It wasn't trying to be surreptitious, but it basically compelled them to have to answer. Maybe it was the 4-piece Italian bedroom set. So the salesperson was then moved to a leadership role. Oh, wow. Is that a new house you're moving into? Is everything Italian? I mean, is somebody move out? You have a child that went to college? What happened? Sometimes the story's sad. They're divorced. They are widower, but they're engaged and in a leadership role. If you think about it, bonuses work great. I can tell you fun stories. I will. You can hire talent with a bonus. You can basically give a bonus of free goods for a while if it's a highly repetitive one. We had a client once that was an arcade, a very cool arcade, but it was underneath a boardwalk, and very few people knew about it. And the first thing I did was look at what's called lifetime value. This is a little too sophisticated, but it's a profoundly interesting story. And I have about 1,000 stories like this that I analogize. But we looked at the fact that every time anybody came down to the arcade, the average person spent $20 in quarters. And the problem was just getting them to come down. So we did a test and we went upstairs where they had about 100 little vendors, hot dog stands, souvenirs, pretzels, cheese on a stick, everything. And we gave every one of them certificates to give to someone good for $1 worth of play, 4 quarters. And but it was only one, they could only use one. They couldn't use multiple certificates. And I think we 10 times the number of people that came down. And even though we invested $1 in quarters for them that had to be recycled there, they couldn't take them out, 80% spent the $20. So that investment, that dollar paid off 20 times in literally a matter of hours. The annual ROI was incredible. I don't want to get too sophisticated, but that's that topic. Next. So let's continue because I want to show the graphic. Move forward. I want to do there's a graphic. These are just a bunch of the ways you can do it, bunches of ways. I mean, this is just the 3 ways, a few examples, but this will take probably an hour. And I want to get to, and I call it the new math. We're going to see. So there should be, where's the graphic that shows the 10, 10, 10? Can you find that? I'm sorry, we have
1 second, Jay. I'll bring that right up.
Hey, sure. Sorry, everybody. I want to make this very initially concise for you so you grasp just the fact that you have so many more options, opportunities, better performing methods, and ways to use your time, your effort, your opportunity, marketing, lead conversion, lead generation. One of the things I'll talk about while we're here is a number of people on this session very probably get a multitude of their business, maybe all of it, from referrals or word of mouth. And that's very admirable because it means it's an acknowledgement of the value people see that you give them. Congratulations. However, it's erratic. It's episodic. One day, week, month, you get a lot. One day, week, month, you get none. It's like, woo, woo, woo. It's like a broken tachometer. But would you be fascinated to know that because I've worked in 1,000 industry on a worldwide basis and analyzed things they do and things that I gave them to test that work, some don't, but we always test conservatively. I have uncovered 120, yeah, perfect. 1 second, and we'll start using the graphic. I have uncovered 125 different strategies for generating no-cost, high-convertive, high-value referrals. 125. Now, can anybody do 125? Of course not. You can't even do 25, but if you're doing none and getting 10%, 50%, 100% of your business from referrals, and you just added 3, that could double and redouble again your referral generating business. I don't know what that would be worth. You do the calculations, but also the advantage of referral generated buyers, they buy faster, they negotiate less, they buy more often, they're much more enjoyable to deal with, they cost you nothing, they refer more people, as opposed to spending money on advertising or social media, which is not bad, but those kind of prospects are like that. They start with very, very low trust. You've got to move them to high trust, and then you got to move them to committed trust, which is a transaction. And that transaction will probably not be that committed until they have a lot more involvement, whereas a referral generated person is right now. And it's wonderful. But if you're not doing things like that, it doesn't really, you're not optimizing. Sorry, my brain they just turned my air conditioning on, and I was thinking, why'd you turn my air conditioning on? Okay, now I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind, and this is foundational, Jay Abraham, meaning you're going to learn right now how to transform your thinking and what I call your business worldview. because you're going to learn how to work on the geometry of a business. And the majority of methodologies I've created, all 97 of them, this is one of them, are based on derivatives of this, how to get exponential result, how to operate in what I call the exponential zone, not the incremental zone. So we're going to do an experiment here. We're going to see this. We've taken a hypothetical business, your business, and we have given it 1,000 clients or buyers. We have realized that every time someone buys, and most people don't even know what the value is, every time anyone buys, it's a $100 unit of sale. How many times they come back and repurchase? Twice a year. Probably don't know that either. So what's the revenue that generates? 100 times, 1,000 times 100 times 2, $200,000. So start there. Next slide, please. We want to show you if you only increase each of those categories by a mere 10%, and trust me on this. Any business can increase 10% very easily, usually much more, just by understanding a very handful of those things that I skipped through. And those are just a few of the ways you can do it. And none of them cost you a penny. There's just so many different ways nobody ever teaches you. But look what happens if we increase each of those categories a mere 10%. A mere 10%. 1,100. 1,000 becomes 1,100, 100 becomes 110, 2 becomes 2.2, 10%, 10%. Guess what? It's not 10%, it's 33% when you extend it out. That's the power of geometry. One more slide, please. Now I'm going to show you, I actually have 2 slides. This one is a cool one. We've taken a little more aggressive. We're going to get 33% more buyers by putting not one, but a couple of those methods, those no cost, no risk methods into place. We're going to try to go for just 25% more unit of sale. We can package things together. We can put some bonuses if they upgrade. We can give them a higher quality. We can do a lot of things that you probably never think about. And then we're going to try to get literally just 10% more purchases, not just 0.2 more purchases. But take a look at what the extension is. None of those are even, well, one is 50%, but the combination is 250. That's how the power of geometry can redouble your profit very quickly when you shift the way you think, the actions you take. Next. We just want to show you what happens if you got serious and you doubled your numbers. 1,000 becomes 2,000, 100 becomes 200, 2 becomes 4, extend it out 8 times. That's what I do for a living, day in, day out, with companies all over the world in about every imaginable industry. And you can adapt the very same kind of thinking to your own business at whatever level you're at. And you can double and redouble revenue, but you can multiply your bottom line, what you earn for yourself and your family, far greater. Next slide, please. So, Patrick, do you want to address this, or you want me to? Because Patrick and I built this, but I can't remember what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, I'll do it. Brilliant. Hey, Jay. Okay, good. Just thought I'd make sure I was here. Brilliant stuff. And I'll tell you, the concept of geometry of the business is a powerful one, because a lot of times people may earn the impression saying, oh, I have a goal, I want to double my business, but they think they have to double everything to double their business, and the math doesn't work that way. And if you find the right levers to pull, because even that one that was like 50%, but 50% was going from 2 to 3, right? So, and that's a 50% growth in that particular category. So the idea of using geometry to grow your business, there's a psychological aspect to this that at least there is for me, and maybe there is for you too who are joining us right now, is that when you see these possibilities, it breeds motivation. You know, I personally believe that energy management is more important than time management. And where you get energy from a lot of times is purpose and passion, and things that Jay was talking about earlier. But also when you see something that's in the realm of possibility that is that you start to believe is achievable, it changes who you are. It raises your frequency. It raises your energetic state, and you start to become somebody who takes massive action. And that's, what I get when I was watching Jay right now, and as he's going through these different slides and explaining the concepts, you start to say, okay, well, I could apply that to my business. Here's maybe some ways I could do that. And suddenly it picks up your energy level in a way that nothing else can. So I'm really appreciative, Jay, that you spent the time to go through each of these things. There have been some questions that were thrown in here, and we'll maybe take a few moments and get to some of those questions. But also we have some people are asking about, what is the mastermind? What's the offer? So I want to get to that. So Ellie, if you could bring up the slide and let me, take people through how they can join this mastermind and do this with us on a regular basis. So what is the Pathfinder Mastermind? In essence, and you can bring up these slides. We start with, and this is what's important, we have a monthly group call that Jay and I are on with the entire mastermind clientele that are there. And what we do is we cover these concepts similar to what you're seeing here, as well as other types of conversations, interaction we have. But you'll see that there's structure to Jay's thinking and what Jay has done. And the thing that's important to understand, none of this is testing, meaning, hey, here's a new idea, let's test it out. These are things that people have been using in their businesses that Jay has created for a long time, including myself. And what I love about this is I have the experience of the implementation side of these strategies that are being taught, and I can share my own personal experience, which I find to be for people that are members, that it's helpful for them to learn, how I use it. And of course, we all interact. That's the idea of a mastermind, how different people can use these different strategies. And this has been brought, I don't think Jay minds me saying, he's got 4,000 people in a similar mastermind in Japan. And when he saw the impact it was having there, he said, why am I not doing this in the United States? And that's when this conversation started to emerge. I certainly have a passion around businesses, around entrepreneurs. I understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for decades now, and I have a love for what this means. I think the entrepreneurs are the most important people in our society and our culture. They add value, they create jobs, they innovate. They are not a part of a sluggish system, but they're inspired people who are doing something that they're passionate about. They bring a purpose to a marketplace, and they change people's lives. So I get very excited about working with entrepreneurs, and the people that I know in my life that I'm closest to are all entrepreneurs, and we share this unique thing. People who are not entrepreneurs have a tough time understanding us. A CEO one time, a friend of mine who's a serial CEO of very big companies, I was talking about entrepreneurs. He said, entrepreneurs, he said, very interesting animals. I like to go to the zoo and visit them once in a while. So he couldn't understand, what it means to be somebody like you and like me and like the people that Jay has been serving. So we have the monthly group calls every month. They run 90 to 120 minutes. And also I can tell you that in addition to that call, that is the call with Jay and I also have a list of people, and Jay and I both have really great contacts, people who are very knowledgeable, influential, and successful, that we're going to have a guest call. Probably we plan on doing about once a month. We don't want to overwhelm you. We want to make sure that we're giving you just the right amount of information, that a month is enough time for you to implement it, and then get on to the next month. But we're going to have some guests that come in every month for you also. You'll have 24/7 access to the private mastermind, as far as there's the group of you that 24/7 you can interact, share, and some people underestimate the value of that. But I can tell you, I've paid large sums of money to be a member of a mastermind, and I get probably as much or more out of the interaction I have with other members of the mastermind than from the actual presentation material. So we want both of those things to be very valuable for you. Kind of mentioned, so we have some bonuses that will go in there. Jay has a library literally like nobody else I've ever seen, where he's got materials, packages, things he's put together that are tested, that are proven, that have been used by many, many people. So we know that they work. One of them that we're adding is the Power of the Collective Wisdom. That's videos and PDFs. That has a value of $5,000. The Complete Abraham Business Growth Arsenal, another one's $6,000. These, again, are videos and PDFs that you'll have access to, that we'll be sending out to you incrementally as you're a part of this mastermind. We're in the founders phase, meaning we're just getting this thing going, which is an exciting time. I always like being in the founders part of anything that I join if it's available to me. So we have the Vault of Secrets, which is PDFs and also videos and PDFs. That's a bonus for founders. We also have the Secrets of Mastery with Jay and Tony Robbins. That's a $15,000 value. Obviously you probably know who Tony Robbins is also, and this particular bonus, very high value. And you might say, is it really worth that much? The answer is yeah. Any of these things are worth actually much more. As I mentioned to you earlier, I've implemented these things I've learned from Jay, and the impact has been in the millions of dollars. So when you look at what an investment might be for something, and then what the outcome can be, I think these values are very validated. All right, and then we have something here that we're offering for you right now who are watching this webinar. That's a special bonus, and it's a customizable bonus. So if you can bring that up for me, Elliot, I'll explain it. So this is the personalized Pathfinder referral report. So you heard Jay earlier talk about referrals, the importance of referrals, and the fact that referrals are really your best clients that can come to you because they're coming already with a positive impression. Somebody else said, I had a good experience, you should go do what I did. So using the strategies that were described here, we will, if you sign for your industry, customize a specific referral report where how you can generate referrals in your industry in the style and the methodologies that we're talking about here and what Jay teaches. So it's important to understand even the location of your business, the type of business you're in, the size of the business. These are parameters that we can go and customize a report for you that can have extraordinary value and help you have sort of like a quick start or get you out of the blocks fast as you join this Pathfinder's Mastermind. So again, this will be included when you join. This will be included in that purchase. That's got a $2,000 value. Again, remember, it's customized. So let's go to the next slide. I think I went through all those. All right, so what's the price? You probably, it's the question on your mind. The monthly membership typically is $495. That's what this mastermind will cost to join. It's on a monthly basis. We are offering a founder's incentive here. I'm somebody, incidentally, I've learned this through the years. I've taught it to the people that when I've led masterminds in the past and with clients that I've had, and I've got thousands of clients around the world who've done business training with me. What I can tell you is that I like to reward immediate action. Procrastination is the killer of dreams. When people see an opportunity, see something that's right for them, and they sit back and have to think about it, procrastinate about it, it just kills your dreams, it kills your energy, it lowers your frequency. So I like to reward immediate action. I'll be upfront. So for the founders members, we're charging, and this will be the price, $197 per month. There is no obligation, meaning it's just month to month. You can quit anytime, whatever month you're in. If you decide that you want to stop, we will not bill you again. And you can come out if this is not right for you. That's a part of our risk reversal. I'll also tell you that if you join for the $197, you get in, you're unhappy in that first month, we'll refund that $197. But then after that, it's just month to month, so you don't have to, we're not going to leverage you into a long-term commitment. Either every month we're delivering value, it's meaningful to you, it's worth way more than $197 a month that you're paying. Then if that's not the case, you don't have to be a part of this or continue in it. How to join. So you can see right now we have a scan code there. You can take your phone, you can scan that. It'll take you right to the registration page to join, or you can go to abrahammastermind.com/join, and you can fill it out right there. There's the application there. Fill that out, submit it, and then you're in, and then our team will follow up with you. There'll be how to attend the meetings, when they are, etc., materials that you'll get. All that will be emailed to you, and we get into this rhythm on a monthly basis. We get into this ability to be able to share with you these particular tactics that I've used personally, that Jay's been teaching for years, that have been used all over the world. Extremely, extremely valuable. I wish you could hear when Jay and I are talking offline, what you might be saying, what's the motivation here? Why are we doing this? It seems kind of a low price thing and not the type of thing that you typically get involved in. And the answer is that's true, especially for Jay. He's working with very, very high-end clients very high dollar masterminds that people join. He was explaining a $48,000 mastermind, $250,000 masterminds. So why are we here at $197 a month? And the answer is, we talk about this, and it's sort of, for Jay at least, and maybe I'll let him speak for himself, it's sort of a full circle moment for him. We believe in you. We understand you. We understand what it's like to be a smaller business entrepreneur that's striving to do something bigger. And it is actually a joy and a pleasure to be able to get with you, share this information, do it in a leverageable way, make it affordable for you. I mean, easily affordable, almost no-brainer affordable for you, and then watch where this takes you. It's where I started and have grown over the years into different businesses, many different businesses. Working in one mastermind I still own 25% of now. You know, I'm working these businesses. In order to join, they have to be doing $1 million or more in revenue per year. Most of them are doing much more than that. But to come back and just say, hey, let's roll up our sleeves. Let's get to work. Here's the stuff that you need to learn. Knowing the impact it can and will have on your life is a joy for us. And we plan on building this out to be a big group of people. The founders are always special and near and dear to our heart because they're the ones that help seed it and get it going. And they're the ones who get the most attention in the beginning. So now is a really good time to join. So again, the link is there on the slide. You can scan the code. You can go there and join. If you get in and for any reason that first month you're unhappy, that's the risk reversal. You get your money back. You've lost nothing. If you stay in, you continue month to month, and at any point you decide it's not right for you or it's not your time right now, whatever it might be, then you come out and that's it. No long-term commitment, no hard sell, no leveraging. That's not what this is about. I will also say that this is a time, I think, to have a look in the mirror. You know who you are and where you are in your life right now. One of the things that you have to ask yourself is, are you willing to work hard? Jay said it earlier, and he couldn't have been more on target, meaning he said, showing up here, this isn't it. It's putting it on the ground and doing the work after we have the experience that matters. And it's true during the mastermind. We present the material, but then we're going to give you the month to implement it. You're going to have the group to interact with, et cetera, to motivate you towards that end. So the look in the mirror is, am I worth it? Am I worth investing to go and advance myself into a bigger arena? And secondly, am I willing to do the work? And if the answer to those two things is yes, then now's your time. Jay, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to that.
No, I think that was really quite wonderful. Thank you. I think it's important, as I said, and Patrick's right, full circle. I started out helping small entrepreneurs, but we did it in very large groups. And then I got much, much, much more concentrated on larger companies. And just as a factoid, I'm a principal in 5 large masterminds. One is $100,000 a person. One is, we have 4 that are $25,000 with dentists. We have one that's $25,000 with a specialty person. We've had $35,000 ones in France. I've got our $48,000, but I don't believe smaller entrepreneurs get a chance to participate for the following reason. They don't want to, they can't write a $25, $50, $100,000 check. They can't justify leaving, and they never get access. I said to Patrick when we started, if we can get a large group of diverse entrepreneurs who have the same values, they're like-minded, they don't want to be constrained, they just don't know how to get from where they are to where they ultimately want to be, and they are limited resources, but we can help them. We may never take you from 500,000 to 20 million, but if you're making X and we can double or redouble it in a very happy, satisfying, fulfilling, and very no or low risk way, it's very gratifying. And I said to Patrick, in Japan, we tried this, and the economies of scale make it justifiable that I can afford the time and opportunity cost. And we believe here it should be equally as important. And what's wonderful about it, when you have a very large group, we're hoping to get a large group that will all basically collaborate. You get to see people doing it. It reinforces that you can do it. You see how they do it. So it's real, it's case study based, it's not theoretical. You get people you meet, you find collaborations, you find opportunities, you find people in your own area. And I think that a small entrepreneur is a very lonely existence sometimes. You have to try to make decisions, you have limited understanding, you don't have a lot of time. You need a champion who believes in you. And I said to Patrick, and he said the same. I said, if we can build this to enough membership that it really has the dynamic and the dynamism we want and the collaboration, I can give a lot of my time opportunity. Patrick comes from a very successful entrepreneurial bent. He's a very good sounding board and contrast, because I can go a little ADD on people. But I can promise you this is more a labor of love than a big profit activity. But I've done it in Japan, and the results we get and the heartfelt gratitude that it's produced is very, very uplifting. And I'm at a point in my career where I'd like very much to be a contributor. It's a matter of record. We do get a $250,000 retainer. It's stuff that I do all day long, but this is a wonderful experiment. And the only stipulation is you got to want it as bad, if not worse than us, because most people, there's very interesting research. Most people, small businesses never, ever achieve their goals. And it's not for lack of the goal being a very achievable possibility. It's that their goal is abstract. They don't even reverse engineer it. They don't even explore how many ways to do it. I'll tell you one final fascinating, and I'm a very logical thinker, I think, although I do have ADD. I was at one of our masterminds, and it was fascinating. We have one that is totally about dentists. And one of the dentists, it's Q&A time, one of the dentists, Patrick, said, I know I could be twice as successful if I had an assistant, but I don't know how to hire one. And everyone's in the room. I said, okay, I'm going to give you the answer. It's very, very secretive. Does everyone in this room or anyone have what's called a cell phone or an iPad or a laptop? And of course they all did. I said, okay, let's go on to YouTube and let's plug in how to hire an assistant. And all, 500 videos come up. Then the guy said, well, but I would know how to train them. Okay, let's do that. What I'm making is between logic and sophistication. Logic is just helping you connect the dots so that you're no longer self-impaired or constrained. And sophistication means between Patrick and I, we probably have more understanding of more ways to help more businesses and more industries, no matter the size, take what they're doing and make it produce far more revenue and enormously more profit safely, and really with actually no more risk or effort, just shifting what you do, how you do it, where you do it, why you do it. And my motivation is to create a large group of passionate, purposeful entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, SMBs. You can be anything from a few 100,000 to a few million. Some of you might be much larger, and you'll get a heck of a deal here, because most of you, I would charge you $250,000 for it, not being hyperbolic. True, but we want to see if we can make a profound difference at this point in your life and help you break through the barrier and see all that's really possible. That's all I have.
That's great. I'm just looking at some of the comments up on the screen while you were talking, Jay, and thanks for sharing that. If I don't mind, I'm going to read, these are unsolicited. I'm just going to read Todd's. It said, Jay impacted my business via, can you keep the scroll where I need it? Yeah. Let me just, right there. Thank you. Jay impacted my business via Business Mastery with Tony. I am so excited to have access to Jay in this way. The value is incredible. I was literally shocked knowing how Jay will continue to impact my business. Thanks for the pricing. And thank you for acknowledging that, Todd. And that's really what this is about. We didn't want this to be a strain. Excuse me. We wanted this to be about people saying, you know, I am ready for the next level. I'm just ready to break the chains, maybe the constraints that are around me right now. And I need a way to do that. So we're just trying to make it easy. And you know, to Jay's point, I think, you know, we'll build a big group of very motivated people that can not only, you know, rise on the you know, on the lift that Jay can give them through his ideas, but also can lift each other. There's a synergy that starts to happen, and I've been involved in groups like this, you know, pretty much my whole career, so I know what it can mean. And you have to be doing something. You know, you really have to be doing something. And what we're finding is that people join the group and they're involved in other things too, but this is such an easy add-on. I can tell you nobody is teaching this stuff, and only Jay really can, these concepts. I definitely can add a lot of color because I just have the experience of working with these concepts, so I'm happy to do that and excited to do that. So it would be a privilege for us to work with you, to have you in the community, for you to be a founder in this community. And I think that we all can be sitting here 12 months from now in a very different and better position, where if you can visualize yourself growing to maybe places that you are beyond what your expectations are, that's what we're hoping for you. It's your mindset. It's going to be the strategies. It's going to be the training. It's going to be the disciplines. All that's going to come together here. And for $197 a month, you can be a founder and you can be a part of this thing. So, Jay, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to work with you. It's
an honor for me.
Yeah, honor for me too. For the team, thank you all for, you know, technically putting this thing together, making it happen, and thank you for your time in being here. And this will now end the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you, Jay.